What's up, fellas? Today's episode, we're just going to be going and taking a walk around the shop and going through the projects that I want to line up, and some of them that I would like to get finished, some that I would like to get started on, and just to let everyone know where we are and what we plan on doing in this upcoming season. Now, it is still February, and it has been blistering cold, so I have not been in the shop in quite a little bit of time. One of the reasons is that when it starts getting around minus 40, minus 45 outside, it just takes too long to be able to warm up the shop to a workable level. Everything just gets frozen in here, and it's just not enjoyable to work. So luckily we've had a little bit of break in the weather, and I know that we're starting to get on the warmer cycle, and things are starting to heat up outside. So put some focus on the projects that I would like to get done, and some of them to get started. So one of the things that I just wanted to go over is what I have in the shop right now and what we're going to be working on. So this, you guys have seen the Suzuki DRZ 400. This is the S model, not a Supermoto. It's an S model, and a couple of the little things and upgrades and such that has been done to it so far has been an aluminum skid plate. Okay, so I didn't really like the stock one that came with it. It was a little on the weak side, so we went ahead and we upgraded that with a Moose Racing skid plate. Another thing that you can see right off the bat is going to be the FMF complete exhaust with the power bomb. On the front, we have a Racetech suspension inside the forks. In the rear, we also have Racetech suspension for the rear of the DRZ. Obviously, we've went ahead and we've done a 3x3 mod at the front, and we've also went ahead and we've jetted the carbs. So with that, this thing actually runs extremely well. Right now, it just the battery was weak minus 45, has a tendency to affect some batteries. This was a brand new battery that went in last year, and the battery is still good. It just needs to get a little bit of a charge, and we'll get this thing up and running. One of the other ones that you guys will see is the one that's actually up on the lift. This here is a XV1000, or better known as a Virago 1000. Great little bike when they run. Terrible to set up. They have a Hitachi carburetor, and you know what? Enough said on that. Other than that, a couple of things that I do with this bike every single year is go ahead and I do the valve adjustments. I pull the carburetor off, and the carburetors have to be clean, and the valves need to be adjusted every single riding season, and sometimes I actually have to do this halfway through the riding season. So it's a little bit more of a temperamental beast, but it is a lot of fun to go ahead and ride, and it is quite comfortable on the longer rides. And when you get it right, it actually runs very, very well, and it's actually pretty quick. So a couple of little things I've done on this is I went ahead and I've stripped all of the old chrome that was off there and went ahead and polished up the aluminum. Just the little things like that, but basically kept it more or less stock. I'm just working on the back half right now, trying to get that done and polished up. So with that, that is the XV1000. So yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, so as we come over here, one of the things that you're going to see is I got something under the cover here. Well, let's just say that it didn't quite end up. So let's have a look at the Street R6. So this one here is all registered, and this one here is a very, very good bike for me. Okay, so it is dirty right now, but you guys get the gist of it. This is a 2001 Yamaha R6. It is the Champions Edition. Okay, so it is a numbered R6. It does have a little bit, obviously. It's going to have a little bit of modifications, but not a whole lot. Obviously, you can see some frame sliders on there. You're going to have a mid pipe and the exhaust. Obviously, a jet kit was done and performed on this. One of the other things that you may or may not notice is these are actually R1 forks. So I've went ahead and I've taken R1 forks and I have went ahead and put them on to the R6. So braided steel lines, had to do a little bit of extension, as you can see. So there's been a little bit of modification in the front. Obviously some breakaway levers, no big deal. Other than that though, it is pretty much stock. Other than what I've said. I mean, obviously it has it's got the carbon fiber kit all over it, and a solo seat on it, but other than that, it is pretty much stock. So with that, we're gonna go into this monster. Okay, so this guy here is another R6, which has just been tucked away in the corner. I've meant to get at this for probably 2 or 3 years now. If you've watched one of my other previous videos on the calipers, that's where I got the 3-year-old. That's about when I after I had taken it, so they're about 3.5 years old, the fluid. That's where I took it for that video. So I already knew how old it was and how long it had been sitting. So with that said, I'm going to be able to pull this out, and I want to get started. One of the things that had put it on the back burner was the fact that I had it actually fell over in the garage, and I ended up breaking the top fairing. So I went ahead and I ordered a new one. So when we think about it, or when I thought about it, it's like, okay, well, I think I know what this is. It came a little early. Let's go ahead and let's open it up and see what we have. Hopefully it's not broken. Oh, well, that is it. So there you have it. This is that is the new nose piece that will be going on. One of the things that I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take a mold of the lights, because this will be going onto a track bike. So my idea behind it is to take a mold of my existing light, mold it, fiberglass, and this way we can go ahead and I can get rid of that piece in there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You guys want to see the track bike being built? I mean, that is going to get done no matter what, but if you guys want some episodes starting on that, we can go ahead and we can do that. And one of the other things for the track bike is I've went ahead and we have some all balls bearings that are going to go in. So I've got a video that very shortly that'll be coming up on that. That is for the rear tire. Okay. I've got some rubber that I will be installing on it, so I can show you guys how to do that. We also have the switch over from on the DRZ. I have the switch over of the winter studded tire over into the summer play tires. Another thing that we got is I got a few extra I got a few extra lights, LED lights, that are going to go up into the shop. This monstrosity that you see over here happens every single winter, and it just turns into a junk pile until the spring, until we can get rid of all of the garbage. That's just garbage from the fall. So I'm actually looking really forward to be able to cleaning up the shop. We have a whole bunch of shelves. I think that we're going to be redoing the shop floor, giving it an overhaul, a good painting, or I'm not exactly sure if we're going to epoxy it or paint it. But that's something that's going to happen this year as well. So again, that's the R6 for the street. It's pretty clean. There's a few things that obviously that I want to go over on that. It has then the track bike that's in behind this one. So there we go. We got four bikes. This one here, it really isn't going to require, the DRZ really isn't going to require a whole lot. We got, I plan on putting some new bearings on the back tire. I've went ahead and I've checked out the front. The back tires I also replaced, but generally I will replace them after the winter. I think their rear bearings for this is like $24 or $28. I mean, it is just very inexpensive, and it's for me, it's just the peace of mind for it. So just go ahead, and I'm just going to change out the bearings. I'm going to make a video of that too, as well as the bearings for the R6 track bike, that is, as well as a video on how to go ahead and change your own tires on the DRZ, so a motocross tire, as well as how I change out my tires on my street bikes, which are, you know, they're going to be much bigger. I mean, those are pretty, they're a pretty thin tire, where, you know, when we go into the R6, it's a much fatter, wider tire, and it requires a lot more muscle and a lot more work to put that on there. But this is something that, you know, you guys can do at home. Everything that I do in this shop, pretty much anybody could be able to do, or should be able to do, just with some common hand tools. Obviously, there are going to be some things that you will require some specialty tools. What I found is, working on the on motorcycles, you can't always rent what you're looking for at your local parts store or whatever. So when I was looking for a certain bearing puller, they didn't have one that would actually work for me. So what I ended up doing is I went out and I actually purchased one. So little things like that. And again, this here was pretty inexpensive. It's a good little bearing puller. I'm very happy with the bearing puller. One of the other ones that I find that I use all the time is actually a chain breaker. And if you're going to be working on this, or on street bikes anyway, these are very inexpensive for the amount of times that you guys are going to use it. So I would definitely recommend probably investing in one of these kits. Like I say, they're pretty inexpensive. They're around $50, or, you know, $50 to $75. Some of them are even less expensive, but it allows you to, you know, flare the ends, and it just allows you to pull apart your chain, the ones that do not have a clip on the Master Link. So that is a great. If you guys want to see the bearing, that's all it is right there. And as you can see, it's got different sizes that you use depending on what size bearing that you're trying to pull, along with the slide hammer. And that's all it is. Again, I think that this here was around 50-60 bucks. So again, it's very inexpensive. If you plan on doing your own bearings, one of these kits, either the chain or this, will pretty much pay for itself the very first time that you go ahead and do the replacement of a large chain or a bearing yourself, other than paying the motorcycle shop whatever their shop rate is, plus their little markup and everything else, plus they want to supply the parts. And I've just found that, you know what, most people can do this pretty easy. So other than that, other little tools that I found that work out really well is a caliper. I have a scope, so the scope, and also a micrometer. Now the micrometer that I have, okay, well, I'm having a hard time opening this with one hand, but that clearly having a nice set of Torx bit, Allen keys, and all those drivers. Like, I mean, when we talk about Allen keys, I have a couple sets, another set, two more sets, another couple of sets, and they're all Allen keys. And you know what? I use Allen keys everywhere. Obviously, I know that some of you guys have seen this. Okay, this here is the motor out of the R6. Now, the funny thing about this one, this one here actually belongs in the R6 street bike, the Champions Edition. I felt that it was lacking in some power, and you know, if you ride, you get the itch, and that's all there is to it. So on my other street bike, which I was turning into a track bike, that motor was phenomenal. And because these are the same, essentially the exact same bike, within a couple years, with the same model, or not model years, but they made this from, I believe, 98 to 2000 and 2001 or 2 or something like that. I think 02. And they're essentially the same. So I took the motor out of the one and I put it into this one, just because I had worked this motor and I knew exactly what it was, how it performed, and I was always happy with the performance in it. This motor has never given me an ounce of trouble. And what I did is I ended up pulling and putting this motor here, and I mean, obviously this guy here needs a what I suspect is the valves done. Now on the XV, it's very simple to do. Okay, on this one here, it requires a little bit of math. It's a little bit harder to do because this motor here is a shim and bucket. The Champions Edition, I'm not running this one right now. I plan on redoing the valves, and when I know that it is 100%, then what I'm going to do is I am going to end up swapping the two motors out, putting this one back into the street R6, and the one that's in the street R6 currently will go back into the track bike. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit to go on, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below, or if there's something specific that you guys want to see. Fellas, thanks for watching. Leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys want to see, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Thanks again.